And we're back! Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our 55-ton foray. And as you can see here, we're jumping straight back into the action of the Simpods, piloted by one idiot numpty critical rocket, with the Kintaro.
Yes, the Kintaro. Well, now, for a lot of you out there may have only ever seen Kintaros back in the day in a museum. It was virtually extinct, as I'm sure you all know. Kintaro and another one of those old Star League mechs that just didn't survive. And that's mainly because of a certain weapon system it carries.
Narc.
Yes. Basically, this is an entire mech built around a single weapon platform, the Narc. And yes, obviously, she carries her LRM-5. Yes, she carries a couple of Holly SRM-6s.
Hovertech.
Holly
LRM-5, Hovertech SRM launchers.
And obviously, medium laser as a backup.
A couple of them. It's not that impressive, really. When you strip away the Narc beacon, it really struggles. It just ends up becoming another brawler amongst, well, many brawlers that are out there available in the Inner Sphere. The real highlight of the mech for the SLDF was the Narc beacon. Once that was removed, it sadly faded into obscurity, until obviously the recovery of Lost Tech, where the Narc beacon gave it a new lease of life. And we delve a bit more in depth with this as part of our Jungle Prime series, The Grand Odyssey, where we toured in Season 4 a large part of House Kurita's territory.
That's right.
Where we even visited the mech labs on Ozawa, didn't we, Eddie?
We certainly did, and what a privilege that was.
Oh, it was great.
I myself even tried to help out if we could try and figure out what the deal was with the rearming system on that dodgy left arm.
Yes, for those who don't know, it would have to actually lock itself into place for a total of 3 agonizing seconds, which for many of you doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're piloting a mech in the heat of combat, 3 seconds is a lifetime, Eddie.
I'm sure it is. But for some reason, the LRM seems to have no problem rearming quickly, even if the arm is forced to move for whatever reason. But that pesky SRM-6 jams almost every single time.
And we put our heads together with the designers at Ozawa. With our combined knowledge, we tried to find a solution. As part of the episode, we came up with numerous jury-rig systems, and none of them unfortunately worked.
No, they didn't. Although I like the fact that we're calling this combined knowledge, considering you mainly sat around chatting with a young female pilot.
She was the head of the R&D team, Eddie. I was trying to get valuable information.
Yes, I'm sure you were. But, but yes, the truth of the matter is no one's been able to figure out why the LRM doesn't jam and the SRM feed does. And when I say jam, I mean jam badly. It took us, on most occasions, at least 40 minutes to over an hour to unjam it. And this is with live ammo in a... I don't know what the deal is.
Well, it was faster, Eddie, when I just punched the arm of the Kintaro that you were piloting. That did seem to clear up the jam.
Yes, but the other people there were not quite as amused by that as you were.
It was a simple solution, Eddie. And I think...
By a simple man, yes. But anyway, Kintaro. When she gets in close, those 2 SRM-6s can dish out a reasonable amount of damage. And backed up by the 2 medium lasers, you know, she can be, as you say, a brawler. The problem is, she wasn't built to be a brawler. She was built to be a spot and target mech for LRM carriers.
Yes.
Get in, narc, get the hell out.
Worked well in conjunction back in the SLDF era with things like the Archer and Bombardier.
Yes. But sadly, these days, well, without that weapon system, there are easier mechs to use, unfortunately. And because of that jamming situation, a lot of pilots would rather pilot quite a few of the other mechs on our list.
I'm sure Rocket would prefer to be piloting anything else at the moment, with his smoking corpse there on Caustic Valley.
Yes, sadly true.
Can't recommend it.
No.
And well, Eddie, before we go to the classiest of the mechs on the list, the scores. The Kintaro did 260 damage, 147 match score, no kills, and wasn't a win. 15 points, Eddie.
Not great. But now it's the Shadowhawk.
Indeed, and I'll take this one here, Eddie. The Shadowhawk, a mech that was built with sophistication in mind. It's an incredibly fancy mech. It makes you fizz all over. In fact, while piloting a Shadowhawk, the seat has over 17 different massage types, there to make your buttocks comfortable and to make sure that your all-important lumbar support is provided. The onboard sound system can play hits from the 80s, opera, and any other audiobook that you may require, such as my own, available on Jungle Prime. When you're ordering your subordinates around in the combat on the field, you also have a wine chiller available, as well as books of Tolstoy's War and Peace, which you can read in clear comfort and sophistication. In fact, the Shadowhawk is one of the most classy battle mechs ever built, and I'm proud to choose this as my winner for this episode of Best in Class.
Well, that all sounded absolutely wonderful. But the truth of the matter is, my colleague, can't actually pilot a Shadowhawk. The cockpit of the Shadowhawk is famously quite narrow and small. And unfortunately, my colleague here is A, quite tall, and B, quite rotund. In fact, you once had to be basically cut out of one when you tried to
I don't know what
get
you're
in.
talking about, Eddie. It was a defective cockpit.
It was not a defective cockpit.
The door wouldn't open, and
I got some fantastic footage of it.
Nobody wants to see that footage, Eddie. No one wants to see.
Unfortunately, I don't have it available, but trust me, it was 2 very long hours. Me and the engineers, we told him at the beginning there was no way he was going to fit. Just no way, but no, he insisted. I haven't laughed so much just thinking about it.
It's not funny, Eddie. It's not funny.
You might have to go on without me for a bit.
I will, Eddie, I will.
Oh my goodness. There is literally tears rolling down my eyes. Oh.
The Shadowhawk also has a male grooming kit on board for pilots who want to make sure that they get... What?
You don't know, you never fitted into it. You're just making stuff up. You love to pretend the Shadowhawk has all this stuff in the cockpit because you never got inside.
It has fine upholstered pilot seat.
It's cramped. It's very cramped. Admittedly, the life support system on board is exceptional. In fact, possibly one of the best.
High quality, reprocessed oxygen to enrich the pilot's blood, to keep them tip-top and alert on the battlefield.
Do you want to talk about its weapon system or something you might know something about? Because you've never piloted one. I have. I've piloted one. You never
Piloted
have.
one as well, Eddie.
You have not.
The door was broken.
The door?
After piloting
the door? Is that what we're calling it?
Yes. That's what it was. They didn't have to remove the entire front of the cockpit.
Luckily for you, the engineers were doing work on it, so they weren't quite as annoyed as they could have been. But still, 2 hours.
Armed with a single AC-5, medium laser, an SRM-2, and an LRM-5, the Shadowhawk can... Eddie, please!
It was so fun.
We're trying to do a serious show here, Eddie. Trying to be informative for the audience at home.
He was wedged between his belly at the front and his fat ass at the back. It was fantastic.
Even Rocket was laughing. That was the true low point of the entire thing.
I'm sorry, you. Like I said, you. What were you saying about the weapons?
I was saying that the weapon systems, Eddie, are a fine mix of short and long-range firepower, allowing the sophisticated Shadowhawk pilot the ability to engage his targets at any range, comfortably and without any worry.
How the hell were you ever a successful mech pilot? It's hilarious.
What a horrendous thing to say, Eddie.
Did they take your dimensions before you bought a mech?
Wasn't like a suit fitting, Eddie. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm gone. Just carry on. I wish I could bring that footage up on this. Oh my God.
Stop messing with that, Eddie. Stop. You don't know what you're doing. The boffins will be very upset with you, Eddie, if you keep messing with it. Stop.
They're trying to find the footage of that. I can't hardly see. The tears in my eyes.
Yes. Yes, very droll, Eddie. Yes, the Shadowhawk is generally used as a Lance command vehicle.
New target acquired.
I do apologise, everyone at home, for Eddie's shoddy behaviour here. He prides himself, apparently, on his professionalism, and here he is.
My colleague is right. I am supposed to be a professional. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, Eddie.
Luckily, those engineers were professionals, weren't they? Those techs that got you out of that
Target destroyed. New target.
thing. There was a big hole in your trousers and your ass was hanging out. Remember?
No, Eddie, I don't remember that.
Your big hairy ass.
Target destroyed.
Is that the level we're going to now, Eddie?
Oh, I'm gone. I am completely gone.
You were shocked about Rocket's orange balls a couple of episodes back, but no, this now. Oh, do you want to talk about my apparently hairy ass? I do not have a hairy ass. Ladies listening at home, it's very nice.
So
I've been complimented on my ass many times. I've a fantastic. The boffins have given us the scores for that amazing round. 355 damage done, 302 match score, a win, 35 points. A very good effort from the Shadowhawk there. Oh, Eddie. Well, with that hilarity out of the way, Eddie,
Sorry.
we're back to the clans.
Yes, indeed we are, with the Stormcrow, or as we in the Inner Sphere call it,
The Ryu and Ken.
Ryuken.
Yes, all kinds of fireballs and uppercuts being thrown for this one. Named after a popular fighting series from Terra way back in the 1990s of a long, long lost era, I believe. That's what it was named after, Eddie.
The 20th century. Wow,
Yes.
that far back.
Oh yes, two popular characters. One a blonde American fighter, the other one a staunch, stout Japanese fighter. He was both using the power of the Hado. Not really sure.
I'm not sure what.
I'm not sure why the Curitans would name a mech after these two characters, but I guess maybe it had seen something of a resurgence in the 3050s, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that side, the mech itself is actually annoyingly good.
It's a powerhouse, Eddie. It's
Yes.
it's the clan crab. That's basically what it is. It's all energy, all the time, great range, good heat management, good heat dissipation, and pretty decent armor setup. But to be honest, it would usually be my choice, and if the Shadowhawk wasn't on this list, I would probably pick the old Stormcrow as my winner of this episode of Best in Class.
Yes, it is quite the deadly mech to come across. It has armor capability equivalent to probably most lighter sized
60,
heavies.
65 ton heavies, yes.
Its firepower is probably also up there with some of those heavy mechs. In fact, compared to some of our older Inner Sphere mechs, probably superior.
Well, twin ER large lasers combined with a triplet of ER medium lasers
Yeah.
makes it a rather effective weapons platform. Also quite high mounted. The only thing that really creeps me out about the Stormcrow, Eddie, is the little hands at the end. I'm not quite sure what they're there for.
No, I've no idea.
I don't know why the engineers would put them there. Hands, for anyone who doesn't know, usually with bottlenecks, do one of two things. One, they're good for thumping things, if it gets too close to you. Or two, it's good for picking up supplies in the middle of a raid, or for stealing different types of money, like vaults, that kind of thing. But the Stormcrow's hands are very small.
They are very small.
They
bolts.
don't... Well,
Yeah, anyway.
when you need to rob a bank on
Right.
Solaris...
I see, yes.
over
okay.
20 years ago when you were down on your luck.
I think
and
we've probably not discussed
you
that.
had to be part
But
of
yes,
a-
you're quite right. The
an
hands
elite
are a little
crew.
small. Yes. Shut up.
Brought together.
Anyway, as we were trying to say, the Stormcrow is, unfortunately, a really good mech. That
First
extended
Solaris
range
bank.
weapon. Will you shut up? That, lost it a little there, haven't you?
I haven't lost
That
it.
extended range weaponry means that she can snipe quite nicely. And as we said, she's also fast. She's as fast as some of the lighter 40-ton.
Just shy of 100 kph makes it a
Yeah.
relatively effective, fast-moving weapons platform. As I said earlier, it's just it's a good solid all-rounder, really. You can see why there were numerous conflicts over the mech. It's been in the hands of the likes of Hell's Horses, who designed the mech originally, and Smoke Jaguar's Towman during the invasion. It's been seen amongst the Snow Ravens, the Ghost Bears. Isola has definitely been picked up amongst the Jade Falcon and Clan Wolf. It was seen on every invading front line.
Yes.
And for good reason. And in numerous configurations of the Stormcrow make it into a much more specialised weapons platform. It's a deadly, competent 55-tonner.
Very, very deadly. Very, very competent. And, well, like its relative speed, we've already come to the end of this particular match.
Yes, it was short, sharp, and brutal with a damage of 301, a match score of 233, and a win, again by Rocket, with 30 points in total. I mean, it's evening out across the board, but still, it puts it in good contention when it's combined with its drag race scores, which we'll see after the next couple of matches, as we jump over to the Vapor Eagle.
The Vapor Eagle, yes. Now, if there's going to be a contender where the clan mechs are concerned, this would be it.
Well, out of the three that are currently here with the Black Lanner included, all bird-themed, as far as I can tell as well, which is an interesting coincidence there.
Yes.
The Vapor Eagle was something of an anomaly when the Inner Sphere frontline forces encountered it, because they weren't quite sure what exactly it was built for. It's not an Omni-Mech, which means it wasn't used by a lot of the true born, as they like to be called.
Yes.
So it was difficult for people to pin it down. It was only years later, after the invasion, where certain information came out, that the Vapor Eagle was actually a mech used by Steel Viper as basically a dueling mech for garrison clusters.
And yet they threw this into a number of fights, in fact, including, obviously, some of them being, recovered from the Battle of Tukid.
Yes, Tukid was one of the original encounters with the mech in any large numbers amongst the Steel Viper Towmen, and despite the fact that they got their asses handed to them by the Comguard, which is obviously a very good thing to have happened.
Yes.
It was still a little bit of a mystery, and it's a well-armed medium compared to the Stormcrow, which you've just seen. This is a mech that comes equipped with a single large pulse, a quartet of medium pulses. Sorry, not quartet, triplets of medium pulses, 4 machine guns, and 2 Streak SRM-2 launchers, which means, again, it can engage any target. It also, Eddie, runs at the same speed as the Stormcrow, with the key exception here that it also has jump jets.
That's right, this thing would make a deadly city fighter. But, when it gets in close, this thing is really diabolical for an enemy mech to have to come up against.
Oh, no, a one-on-one encounter with this, unless you're in a much heavier machine, is a dicey prospect, I have to admit there, Eddie. It's as another, just keeping with the bird theme, its name by the Inner Sphere forces was the Goshawk, which is keeping with the bird theme again.
That's right, yes. And as you said, these so-called rear-line mechs were relatively new in the early stages of the invasion. We were mainly seeing, obviously, the Omni-mechs, and therefore their so-called frontline pilots, their trueborn, or, as I like to call them, they don't have a mummy or a daddy.
Or they have issues.
No presents at Christmas. But
Yeah,
they're rear-line
that's right,
pilots, which are occasionally even trueborn themselves, who just unfortunately didn't quite make it. But mainly are, well, just like me and you, the so-called free buffs. And some of them piloting mechs like this were, I would say, as deadly as their frontline rivals.
Well, yes, and I have to admit, I'm currently in the process of collecting half of a Vapor Eagle.
That's right, yes.
Recovered from Tukid. It was found in a swamp.
Yes, it's in a pretty bad state.
Yes.
Even with the newer metals that they use, the swamp has done some additional damage to it, unfortunately.
Oh, the cockpit it will have to be completely refurbished, replaced.
Yes.
Which is where you come in, isn't it? You do a lot of refurbishment work.
Yes, we are. Once some of the stuff has been done, it'll be, as you know, moved to my own location.
Workshop.
My workshop, as you know, I have a number of very skilled engineers and a number of younger engineers that we help to train up as part of a deal I have in with Hochsteiner. And yes, we will be trying to do what we can with it. Now, acquiring the other parts to turn this into any kind of operational mech, that I'm not too sure about. As you know, we do have some contacts in, obviously, Comstar, but obviously they're trying to put some of these mechs back together themselves and for their own use.
Yes, I couldn't find the lower half. I suspect the lower half had already been taken and that the upper half was found just by pure luck. Now, it must have been cut in half. Something must have literally scissored it, like weapons fire, or it was, I don't know, cut with a sword. I mean, Black Knights were wandering around with hatchets at the time during Tukid. That could have happened. But I may have to go the route of contacting Diamond Shark to try and get a lower half, but I'm not really sure what horrendous depths of bargaining I'll have to go through with those lots to be able to get hold of one.
Yes, but if we can get the other parts and we can fathom it together, it could be quite the mech to show off in one of our later...
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to be able to.
I'd certainly wish to do a Belly of the Beast on such a mech.
Well, the top half is what you can
Well, we
with.
will probably do some stuff with it, but as I said, I'd love to be able to put the whole thing together. And at least some of our contacts in Comstar might be able to give us some details on repairs and certain aspects of it.
Well.
But yeah, very interesting. Exceptionally good mech. Is it as good as the Stormcrow? Or is it, shockingly, better?
A difficult question to answer. What does everybody think at home, I wonder? Well, they're watching this during, obviously, the Bactrian Plague outbreak.
Yes.
We don't really know. Personally, for me, I'm still going to go with the Stormcrow.
Okay. But let's see what our final scores are as we're coming to the end of this match. Did the rear line mech do better than the front line?
Well, Rocket died and we ended up, the Boffins edited it down because they did run for a bit longer than it was expected.
Yeah.
But the end result was actually rather surprising. 393 damage, 378 match score, and a kill with a win. 40 points. It's actually leading the pack at the moment.
Maybe those frontline pilots made a mistake.
All systems nominal.
And that takes us over to the final mech of the sim sessions here with our trained chimp, the Wolverine.
Now, there's a lot of mechs I love. I won't deny it. It's very difficult to pick a favourite. I mean, how are you supposed to? There's so many incredible designs. And obviously there are certain mechs that I originally learnt how to pilot. I learnt how to pull apart and put back together, how to rearm, strip.
Yes.
Working on my father's training centre that our family ran. But for some reason, if there's a mech that just fills me with, what is it you call it?
The fizz.
The fizz.
The fizz.
The fizz, as my colleague calls it.
I do.
One of those mechs is the Wolverine. This is, well, a real grand old mech of the battlefields, originally brought into production in the 2400s. She's an old design that just has proven to be so popular, so successful. An excellent command mech, excellent communications. Wow.
New target acquired.
Now, by modern standards, a lot of people would obviously say heavily underarmed. The weapon systems, the SRM-6 is probably, in many respects, a heavy hitter.
At 25%.
Well, you can't discount the Autocannon 5. That is a heavy hitter as well, Eddie. The Whirlwind.
Yes, but the for most, the SRM-6 would probably be what does most of its damage. The AC-5, as you say, an incredible weapon system, beautifully made, excellent design. And if you have a stocked setup nearby, you can literally reload with your own mech. That's how damn good this mech was. This is how well designed she is. And then obviously the ball jointed medium laser. Although these days that's been replaced. The ball joint could sometimes have a few minor issues.
Well, you could shoot yourself with Eddie for a start.
That was dealt with hundreds of years ago, my friend. But yes, with these modern weapon systems, that's generally been replaced. But I still love the original design. She is such an exceptional mech. And yes, I'm probably gushing about it a little bit more than I
Just
should.
a tiny bit, Eddie, just a tiny bit.
But I'm gushing about...
It's got no grooming kit inside it, Eddie, not like the Shadowhawk.
There's no grooming kit in a Shadowhawk. She is a lovely mech to pilot. Now, I will admit, this is another one with a pretty narrow cockpit, but your field of view inside that cockpit is excellent. She really is capable of surviving some pretty nasty battles. We've seen these mechs come off the battlefields. Just holes, the arms hanging off, the legs only just dragging it across the battlefield.
Yes.
And yet, she is an excellent mech to be able to put back together. She was very well designed. Certain plating areas will come away surprisingly easy, and yet they stay in place under severe fire. She's a joy to work on, an absolute joy. I own 3 of them.
It's like a stout dwarf, really. It's there and can take the punishment and dish it out in equal measure. I've got no ill feelings toward the old Wolverine. She's a workhorse of the Inner Sphere, has been working across the battlefields prior to the Star League even being created.
Right. When I say an old workhorse, I mean an old workhorse. This thing was brought in when Mackey's still saw the light of day on battlefields.
I could go for a Mackey's. Nice burger.
No,
what?
the Mackey. The Mackey.
Oh, the old barrel boy. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, yes.
That's when this was introduced. That's how old she is, and still in use. Still very much in use. Obviously, we have our updated variants that are now on the battlefields.
The Project Phoenix variants, though, were utterly horrendous to look at, Eddie. Though they're a perversion of what was once a great design, visually torn apart and put back together by some madman.
Yes, the early versions, which I'm sure some of our listeners have seen, our viewers, should I say, have seen. Yes, they working with some of the newer tech at the time, rather than building new mechs, they literally tore them apart and kind of put them back together as best as they could.
Yes.
And they sort of lost a lot of what makes this an incredible mech to look at.
They did it to many, Eddie. It wasn't just the Wolverine, the Shadowhawk, the Phoenix Hawk,
However,
Wasp, the Stinger, the Valkyrie,
However,
Scorpion.
the modern versions are obviously built from the ground up. They have gone back to the drawing board. They've put them back to being Wolverines as I know them, but with obviously the lost tech properly
and a somewhat taboo word amongst clan society. If you were to use the big W around a clansman, they may get a little bit upset.
And yet they have their own variant.
Well, they do, yes,
The
but they
Wolverine
certainly don't.
2C, although they don't call
They
it
don't
that, do
call
they?
it that, no.
What do they call it?
I believe they call it the Conjurer or Hellhound.
Yes.
Something
well,
along those lines.
Yeah, they have a bit of a thing against anyone mentioning the Wolverine, which is why I think this is the perfect mech to take against some of them.
Oh, yes.
Say it loud, Inner Sphere Warriors, and say it proud. The Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Well, we seem to be coming close to the end of this battle, obviously.
Yes, we are, yes.
So let's hear the scores.
Rocket actually nabbed the last kill there, which was kind of surprising for him, but it was 193 damage, 226 match score with a single kill and a victory. Although I think due to some of Rocket's decision-making there, he did deny himself some damage, only 25 points. And we'll be going over to the scoreboards here. So in first place we have the Vapor Eagle with 54, the Black Lanner with 53, the Stormcrow with 46, the Griffin with 40, Dervish with 38, Shadowhawk 37, Bushwhacker 31, Wolverine 29, and Kintaro, bringing up the back of it, with 27. But it could all change with the Grand Melee.
It's all to play for.
Here we go with the final, folks. And so here we are, Eddie, the decider, as 9 hungry mech pilots go to battle in the Badlands of Solaris.
That's right. It's the Grand Melee.
Yes. And it's said to be a long one, the boffins have told me. This fight does drag out, as all of these combat machines are well-armed and well-armoured.
Yes, but they're also heavily armed as well, and quite a few of them can dish out quite a lot of damage. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things go. Obviously, I'm really hoping that my choice, the Wolverine, can somehow make it through and get that coveted final kill.
Well, that would be a very nice outcome, but I don't know. The Vapor Eagle and the Stormcrow are two very, very effective fighting machines from the clans. Lots of armour, good heat management combined with heavy damage output. Ooh, it's a tough one to call, really, Eddie. As much as I'd like the Shadowhawk to come out on top of this one, it's got a stacked deck against it.
Yes, well, those two particular clan mechs are, as we've already seen, they're pretty capable, pretty nasty, and they can take a beating, and they can move quick as well.
And we can't really discount the Black Lanner either, though.
No, we cannot.
It was our first one out in The Sims, and it didn't do too bad score-wise, so
That's
everything
right.
to play for here. There is only a single point difference between the Black Lanner and the Goshawk, or Vapor. Oh, and they say that the Black Lanner is the first to die.
Ah, well, that puts him definitely out. of
Oh,
the
and there
running.
goes another one of the competitors, dropping like flies. Now, there's
Oh!
a third one. Oh, the field goes from 9 to 6.
Wow, that's they went very quickly, didn't
An
they?
entire third in such a short time.
Yes.
And the Black Lanner, well, it killed itself. It wasn't actually
Oh.
taken out by any opponents, which it still means the Black Lanner is now definitely not in the running for the top spot.
No, it certainly isn't. But both our Stormcrow and Vapor Eagle are both still there.
Oh,
and
still
they're
fighting.
Yes, they're going at it. And
There's
they've the firepower to deliver
There's
some.
the Shadowhawk there, backed up with the Wolverine getting involved as well.
Yeah, the Shadowhawk and Wolverine seem to have perhaps made themselves a bit of an alliance.
The Kintaro there, trying to get a few hits in on the Vapor Eagle. Not a bad decision, not a bad decision. Yes, it does look like the two Innisphere mechs are working together temporarily to engage their other opponents. This could be the kind of teamwork that makes the dream work.
It certainly could, it certainly could. Though it would need to be a win for either of our mechs to topple those two.
I don't know if they could get to the top, but they could certainly make it top 3, which would be very good.
Which would be excellent, yes. That would be, I mean, what if both of them make it to the top?
Oh, well, second and third, first and second, whatever kind of
Yes.
combination we got here, it would work.
Yes, works for me also. It works for me, my colleague.
The Stormcrow has lost an arm, but the
Doesn't
Griffin is definitely the mech that's under the most stress at the moment. Equipped
Yes.
with 2 weapons with minimum range, means it has to keep skirting around the outside and hoping for targets to not really notice him.
Not likely in this small
Oh, there goes another one of the competitors down, and the field is narrowed once again.
Which means less places to hide for both our Shadowhawk and our Wolverine. And even working together, they're now getting...
Well, I think the
hunted
Shadowhawk's
down.
out of the fight here. We've still got the Vapor Eagle, we've got the Kintaro, the Stormcrow, the Griffin. Is still fighting there. There it is, being chased by the
yes. My
Stormcrow.
apologies, I thought it was the Griffin that had gone down.
The Wolverine is still in there as well. Oh, the Griffin's having a rough time. I've just seen a part fall off. It can only be a matter of time for the poor Griffin at this point. He's still firing there with the PPC. Still giving goes. The Vapor Eagle there's taking shots at the Kintaro, as the Kintaro is now down to a single arm. Only got its medium laser left. Who knows if it's got SRM? That piece just flew off the Wolverine. They're starting to fall apart now.
They are literally, shredding each other.
I'd say the Wolverine has probably lost its most important weapon. The autocannon's gone.
Yes, I have to admit, I'm impressed with that Kintaro. It's still in there. Yes, it's got basically nothing left to throw, but it's still in there.
Its points are negligible at this point, but it can make a difference. It can cause...
You never can tell. We could have an upset here.
No, it could be, as another one goes down. I believe that was the Griffin that died. So we're down to our final... Is it final 3 or final 4? I believe it's our final 3 at this point. Yes, it is. The Wolverine has also
Yes,
sadly perished.
I
We're down to
know,
the Kintaro with the Stormcrow and the Vapor Eagle.
Yes, I saw the... Well, anyway. Yes, the Kintaro. Who'd have thought of all of the Inner Sphere mechs?
I think he's out of weapons, though, Eddie. I think the Kintaro at this point is basically chasing the Vapor Eagle around. I think he's just scaring it off.
You know, I think you're right. He's basically acting as additional armor for
the Stormcrow. Is the collusion in the works? I
don't know what's
wonder.
going on. The Vapor Eagle is being defended by the Kintaro, whilst the Stormcrow desperately tries to fire around it at his enemy.
Well, there is also a point here, Eddie, that if the Stormcrow can win, it would definitely put it at the top of the table. It would be the best in class.
Well, here we go then. The Vapor Eagle's got everything to win.
It needs to win. It needs this fight. It's the only way now that it's going to take the top spot. Now that the Black Lantern blew itself up, we're just waiting to see pieces come off.
More pieces.
He's shut down.
Could that be it? Could that be it?
Oh,
No,
it's taking
he's
da-
he's up and running.
Still running.
My goodness, can this thing
But
take
what does
a
he have
beating?
left? A large pulse fire. He's out of. No, he's
No,
shut
he's
down.
shut down again.
And he's dead.
Oh,
That's
my
it.
God.
The Stormcrow is our winner. All that's left here now is the Kintaro, who's.
What is the Kintaro doing?
I believe he's just running circles. I mean, he is fighting for a sandwich, so he needs to do something. He can't give up. It's that never give up spirit of a down-and-out Solaran mech warrior that really tugs at your heartstrings, Eddie. It really makes you, realise that these people are some of the hungriest fighters in the Inner Sphere.
He's just wasting our time as far as I'm concerned here.
Brutal message, Eddie. Brutal.
He may as well just shut down.
Well,
Accept
he's
defeat.
going for ramming speed as he bounces
my
off the Stormcrow.
God.
Imagine that's bone-jarring for both pilots.
Well,
And again, another bash as we
watching from
see,
the side of one of our executioner mechs.
Mr. Biggs there as
Mr. Biggs, yeah.
with our awesome piloted. And there goes! Congratulations to our winner there,
Who?
the Stormcrow.
Yes.
But what do the final scores say? Well, we can have a look here. As our final scores, the Stormcrow is top with 61 points.
Wow.
The Vapor Eagle second with 54. The Black Lantern third with 43, as a small animal meows in the background. The Griffin with 40 points in fourth. The Dervish with 38 in fifth. The Shadowhawk with 37 points in sixth. The Bushwhacker with 31 in seventh. The Wolverine with 29, followed by the Kintaro with 27.
Wow. Well, we've seen some incredible fights in this, haven't we?
These 50 and 55 tonners have really pulled it out. They've had a fantastic series, and we move on to the heavies with the next episode, Eddie.
We certainly do, but I think for this one we've laughed, we've cried, but mainly I laughed.
At me.
See you next time, folks.
Goodbye. Well, that's another BIC finished, 55 tons. Thank you again to everyone who helped out there with the Grand Melee and the drag race.
Thanks very much.
I do keep meaning to write down the names to forget. You know who you are, but thank everybody for helping. I will make more of an effort next time and get everyone's names sorted. But until then, I hope you all have a good week. Stay safe.
Stay very safe,
We'll
please.
see you next time. Bye.
Bye.